Hello, and merhaba, right? That is my only Turkish word, hello. As the introduction already said, my name is Michael Steingress. I'm working as a business developer for a company called More Than Metrics. And how do I do this here? Here we go. So, what I'm going to talk about in the next 20 minutes is how to scale service design, design thinking with software. Before I do that, let me give you a quick idea on what's about to come. So I will quickly give you an introduction on our story, that you have a little context on why I'm standing up here. After that, I'll show you how we work, how we try to put service design, design thinking into the DNA of our company. And in the end, let's have a quick look on why software in this field. So, yeah, it all started with that book on the left-hand side. So this is Service Design Thinking. Maybe some of you have seen that. Two of our founders of our company wrote that book in 2009 because there was just no proper literature on the whole topic of service design, design thinking, so they came up with that book. What you see on the right-hand side is the new one, so now it's all about the doing, but let me dig into that a little. So it started with that book, as said. So we needed that book as there was none, but based on that, we did a lot of consulting at that time. We did a lot of service design projects. And suddenly, those questions appeared like, yeah, nice way of thinking, but how actually do you do those things? And actually, this escalated quite quickly. A lot of organizations, companies reached out to us saying, hey, nice mindset, how do we apply that? And while working on that, we realized one thing. We actually weren't really consulting on a specific topic. It was all about giving those organizations an idea on how to break down those silos. Silos they had internally, silos they had when communicating with their customers. And this is something we still see and more see again nowadays. It's about not building new ones. There are so many different names for the very same thing that actually this becomes a huge thing at the moment. By talking about different topics and by giving them a name like UX design or whatever, we're actually starting to build new silos. We have a quite simple approach on those things. There is no difference between design thinking, service design, and so on. It's basically we all do the same, no matter if you call it UX design. In its core, it's always the same idea. So this is what happens usually. You might all have experienced that within your organizations, or if you're into consulting. If you go into a company, you have those different departments, and those experts in all those different departments, they speak their own language, they have their own KPIs. I tend to say that an expert usually is somebody who knows more and more about less and less. So this is where service design comes into place. We're creating a common language. Some terminology, for example, that everyone shares so that we can move ahead in a more agile way. So this is why we came up with two software solutions, a customer journey mapping tool called Smapley, and the research tool, mobile ethnography tool called Experience Fellow. And both are here to help you to create boundary objects. So what is a boundary object? It's basically an item like a customer journey map that helps people across different teams, across different departments, to have those, or to share those items, to have a common understanding on the very same thing. So if you have a customer journey map, your developers will have a different look at it than your operations team, for example. But still, those items, those boundary objects help you in your organization to share knowledge and to move ahead. So let me quickly tell you how we work at More Than Metrics. So as I said in the very beginning, we try to put service design, design thinking into the DNA of our company. So we're trying to build service design tools by applying the principles of service design, of design thinking. So this is what I've mentioned also. It doesn't really matter how you call it. I call it service design sprints, what we're doing. But you might call it CX sprints, UX sprints, you might call it innovation loops, whatever you see on that slide, it doesn't matter. In its core, it's all about the same. So let me give you one example on how things evolve. This what you see here is a poster that is in our office, and it reminds all of us about that one day, 12th of April 2016. We did a complete rewrite of our software, and we changed the sign-up process. We removed some fields to fill in. We didn't require credit cards anymore. Sign-ups went up by 1,200%. What we did not consider is that our servers weren't built for that. We just did not do our research. We didn't check on it internally. We were so focused on our customer only that we forgot to check on our infrastructure. So what happened is, well, servers were down, we were offline for a couple of days. So this is also service design, your technical infrastructure, things you might not think about at first. So when I talk about service design sprints, this is how we see it, this is how we do it. It's basically that circle. Research, identification of critical experiences, and so on, whatever you see up there. Let me give you a little insight into all of those things, how we work as a software company. The research, I think I don't have to tell much about that. It's about quantitative and qualitative research, right? So both is important. Like there is that discussion going on. What is more important? The others say we need the KPIs. Others say we need more qualitative insights. In the end, you need both. It's just about finding the right balance. And if you have a balanced team, you will have a balanced overview here. So let's not dig into that. In the end, it's all about triangulation. Triangulation, and once more, it's about triangulation. It's about triangulating methods. Find the right methods to do your research, to dig into your very own context or your customer's context. Find the right data types to use, and also triangulate researchers. We all are biased. No matter how neutral we think we are all having biases on certain things. So it's about that. Don't build strategic decisions on assumptions. This is what we experienced a lot of times when we did service design projects. And so there was a management board, there was a marketing department, and they sat together and said, yeah, here we have our journey map. We think this should be it. So yeah, they based strategic decisions on that. So what could possibly go wrong here? So basically, challenge your assumptions and use the right tools to do that. Use the right moment to do such. I'll give you one example. As we have a journey mapping tool, we came up with certain aspects to consider when you see a customer journey map, but actually most of those criteria do not only apply to journey maps. So let me talk a little about those 6 aspects. First of all is it a current state or future state journey map you're looking at? This is something we often experience when customers reach out to us saying, hey, I did my first journey map, can you have a look at it? You would not believe how often those things get mixed up. It's about making clear what is ahead of you, or in front of you, sorry. Because it's about creating those boundary objects that I was talking about. And a boundary object only works if there is a common understanding on those objects. So make clear what you, your team, or whatever stakeholder is involved is looking at. Then it's about, as I said, assumption and research. I told the story, there is so much assumptions out there. It's totally fine to start with assumptions, but as I said, challenge them. Get from assumption-based work to research-based one. I think I don't have to tell you here, but even we have a lot of customers in different industries, no matter if in the UX or wherever, they all at some point mistake those things or mix it up. Make clear if you're having a high-level view on things, or if it's detailed scope point of view you're having here. Don't change scopes when presenting your research results. Another thing is make clear who is your main actor. Create cool personas, and don't mistake a persona. A persona should rather be an archetype, not a stereotype. So try to leave away your biases. This is something we see on a daily basis, no matter how professional our users are. So make clear if it's a customer, a user, or an employee. Make clear if it is a proposition-centered approach or an experience-centered approach. Are we having a holistic view on his whole experience? That would, for example, include waiting times. Even if you as a service provider or product provider don't think about that for your user, for your customer, this is part of the experience. Or do we only focus on those moments, those touch points where we're really in touch with our customers, so the rather marketing point of view on things? And make sure or clearly think about which kind of visualizations you should use. Or again, boundary objects. Make clear or use items that are clearly understandable to everyone involved. Yeah, well, once you did your research, it's about the identification of critical experiences. It's about that. Try to find those touch points, those steps in your journey, in your customer journey, that are critical, your pain points, so to say. And this is where you should start, not the ones that are already working. Those ones are your first things to tackle. So get those actionable insights and start at those points, not the ones that are already working smoothly. And when you do personas, if you do such, this is what you would basically experience at first. You have maybe 40 personas, so all of those little blue dots, they are basically personas. Nobody can work with that. Who can work with 40 different personas? So you have to find patterns. You should, as said, not build stereotypes, build archetypes, and try to cluster those personas. Try to find usable patterns, patterns that make sense in your context. And try to consider those things. Try to be able to differentiate between those groups, between those buckets, and try to find proper similarities within those buckets, so to say. And this is something what then happens usually, or what we experience a lot is, people do that, companies do that, they come up with cool personas, and what they do is they use those smooth, well-done personas to test their services. And this is what I mean when I put design for the average, test with the extremes. Those, if you slip into your average persona's shoes and test your journey, customer experience map, whatever, with those average personas, you won't find those points, those pain points, those moments where we can make or break. So try to identify those edge cases. If you're building a new web app, test it with those people who hardly use smartphones or with the heavy users. They will give you the valuable insights, not those nicely made average personas. Here we go. And then, of course, we all know that it's about ideation and the idea selection. So there are simple tools, and let me give you one story to that. So if you haven't seen that, try to cluster your ideas by impact on the experience of your customer and the feasibility of how easy it is for you and your organization to realize a certain project, a certain service. So those ones usually are your quick wins, the green ones. At one point, for example, we had to do this, and sometimes this is necessary. So don't feel too attracted to the little green dots. Sometimes you have to take the pain and go for the red ones. When we came up with Smaply, well, we put a little piece here, a little piece there, we put all together, and at a certain point, we realized, hey, our software is not stable enough anymore. So we had to do a complete rewrite. This was very cost-intensive and time-intensive, but it was worth the effort. So sometimes you have to go for those red ones. Then it's about prototyping. And we're all talking about prototyping, but when we talk to our customers, we often experience that prototyping is just a theory. They have a lot of knowledge on how to prototype things, how to build wireframes and mock-ups and whatever that is, but put it into practice. This is actually a screenshot from Experience Fellow. So we have that little feature we called Alpha. We pointed out that it is still in development, but we received a lot of feedback. We didn't have to invite people to give us feedback. They realized this is not the final state of that thing, but still, we were able to have all those qualitative insights without a lot of effort. So it doesn't matter how you call those things. Put them into practice, even if we won't win a design prize for that solution, actually. But it was priceless for us to have insights. And then it's about implementation and development. For those who have been at our booth out there, might have seen some of those things already. So we're a software company, but even if we deliver tools for service designers, for UX people, we are strongly focused on making it real, making it tangible, because this is something you usually forget when you do software. Because like whatever software you purchase, for example, only few of them have those manuals. And we learned from our users that they love it to have that quick start guide on their table, to be able to have a quick look, where could I start, what could I do? They don't want to look at a PDF, they want something real, they want something they could put onto their desk. We have those stickers, maybe you've seen them out there on the tables. It's about spreading the idea. We're developing software, but we're doing that based on deep knowledge and a lot of experience in that field. So we want to spread the message, and this also, those stickers, for example, or those posters, they have fun sayings on it. But in the end, there is one reason why we're doing that. You might have experienced that. UX designers, service designers, they don't get budget for a certain project. This helps you to get buy-in because this spreads the message. And apart from that, for example, that photo up there, this is our marketing team and a developer. So everyone is involved into that. Everyone is listening to the customers and everyone has a feeling for what we're doing. For example, everyone does support, so we don't have strict teams. Of course, the developers develop and the operational team does the marketing and sales and so on. But still, everyone is in the game of support. So that means we're able to be quick, and we're able to be agile by that, by having a knowledge across the team what our customer wants. So this looks nice, but actually this is reality, isn't it? So maybe you do your research, you identify critical experience, and you realize, well, I don't have the right data, so you have to go back. Those models are nice, but actually those things happen. Or this might happen. You have a cool idea, you go into prototyping, and you realize, well, that does not work. Maybe it's too expensive, or maybe the idea was wrong, or maybe the prototype didn't work. Or this might happen to you. So you're writing your user stories, and in the end, or you have or let's say the other way around, you did cool research, and you don't have to go through all those steps. Just do your first prototype, and do a shitty first draft. This is so important. Well, now the loop closed, but in the end, actually, this is what our everyday work is all about, not that model behind that. We all love models. We tend to rely on them like that. This is what comes out in the end, and this is why we're building new silos, because we're thinking, we think we can do projects end to end, and this is just not real. This is not what's happening out there. And then suddenly we see those things, and actually what happens if I'm stuck there? That model does not allow me to go back. So they might give us guidance, but those models actually are not even representing reality. So, and actually they are killing the power of design. Because design is meant to be open, it's meant to be an iterative, creative approach that brings people of different teams together. If we stick and if we are stuck in those models, we'll get lost. So I hope nobody of AXA is in the room today, so it's not that we particularly hate that one. So it's basically all those models. So as said, this is not real. This is not what's happening out there. In the end, it all comes down to those two things, and I think that is true to all of us, no matter if you call yourself a UX designer or a service designer or whatever. As said, projects cannot be planned end to end. You have to keep your flexibility. And as a second one, design processes often get squeezed into those models that we've just seen. So as said, we're building new silos, and this is something we experience a lot, and please try not to do that within your organization. So no matter how you call those things, no matter if it's lean UX, design thinking, whatever that is, we can squeeze all that into one funnel, and what comes out is this. I think those principles apply to all of us, no matter if you're in the UX department or like me in the business development department. Things are always unfinished. Always question your assumptions. Even if you have your research done, question it again. This is so important. Do many experiments, iteratively work, and most importantly, ask real humans. Don't rely on numbers only. So it's about iterations, it's about doing cool prototypes and doing your research. And so why software? It should be a living document, not a deliverable. Think about those boundary objects. Create things that are true for everyone involved in your projects. Try to find those patterns. And to end my little presentation here, I wanted to give you 2 insights. We asked some of our customers, why would they use software to apply service design within their organization? So let's see if that works.
So my name is Fernando Yepes, and I work for PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC. I am a business strategist and business model coach for the Global Delivery Model Services organization. We have been embarking on a program to upgrade our service delivery inside of PwC, particularly in the Western Hemisphere. And in order to do that, we have to examine very closely our current service delivery models. That's where the customer experience comes in. Having the ability of using and tapping an electronic tool to help standardize the approach that we use to understanding customer experiences, and hence how we can relate that to delivery operations is paramount for us. Understandably,
oh, oops. Maybe we can open that last one again. That was my fault, sorry.
Hi, I'm Amy Cunliffe, and I'm a service designer in New Zealand. So we were looking for a way to build journey maps that were dynamic and told a great visual story. We also wanted a tool that was easy to use and inclusive. So if you didn't have design skills, you could still create an awesome journey map.
Hi, I'm Olivia. I've been working with Amy to turn our post-it journey maps like this one into maps like this one using the Journey Map software.
The journey maps we've created, we've used them in our international offices. This has given us the opportunity to share and gain feedback on low fidelity service models. You know, it's hard to get everyone into the same room for a workshop, and so being able to share these with them has been absolutely invaluable. They're connected to the work we're doing, and we get immediate feedback on early designs of the service. So some of our colleagues have either seen the journey maps firsthand or they've heard about them. And in the short time, we've been able to share them with teams that haven't seen journey maps before. The teams have totally appreciated seeing the journey maps because it's been giving them an opportunity to interact with them and see what the service would be like from one end to the other.
All right. So thank you for your attention. Thank you, UX Alive, for having us here, and try the rest of your day.